Alright, so just finished work and then drove back from Seattle down to Oregon, but we are not going to let that stop us from continuing to learn every single day, keep moving forward. So today what we're going to do is continue on our project for uh, doing Docker. So in the last video that I made on this project, what we were able to accomplish was getting Docker containers for registry and producer resource. Okay, so now what I want to do is extend that out to front-end service and consumer resource. So kind of a continuation of that logic or process. And this also kind of reinforces how does Docker work, what's going on, and kind of allows me to do the forget and or learn and forget methodology where I was kind of in the zone last time when I was making the videos. I figured out how to do it. I was like, okay, cool, cool, cool. And now it's time for me to kind of do that process again and try to maybe find areas of lack of understanding. So let's kind of do it again, and I'm going to close out my terminals, and this should cause this to stop running. Good. Okay. Then we have this. This is going to stop running too. Awesome. The world is kind of making sense. So let me come in and try to start my registry service. Okay. So I'm going to go into the new terminal and now go into the registry. All right. So now I have in my registry, and I'm kind of saying this to myself as well, I have my Docker file. Now my Docker file allows me to start the container up, right? So Docker run, and then it was -p for the ports, and I want to map this 8086 or okay 8761. I want to map that to 8761. Okay, and then go. No. Docker run requires at least one argument. Do I need to do that little dot? No. Oh, okay. Well, let me go back and look at my history for what those commands were. Oh, right. I need that image. So I named this image. Okay, so see, things are coming back to me. That's why it's good to have that learn and forget. Okay, so I can do Docker images. And there's going to be one that is register service. So this is an image that I created. So I did a command which was Docker build, I think. I'm going to look that up as well. Find out what that command was. Docker run. Docker, here we go. Docker build, and then the name, this flag for the name. I believe this is tag. Okay. Here's the name, and then in the current directory, so it looks for the Docker file, builds that image, and now there's an image in the Docker file. That's a good question. I'm going to ask that. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's a good question. So, after I do the Docker build command, I now have an image. Where is this image? Image, who controls it? And what, I don't want to ask what is it. I might ask what is it, or what is it? But there's something else I want to ask. It's like, what's it made of, right? Is it code? Like, and what is it made of? Like, is it an executable? Okay, so we're gonna ask that question. Oh! Okay. It needs to do its little balancing every time you ask a question. Bounces all over the place. Okay, here it is. All right, so what is Docker image? A Docker image is a packaged snapshot, okay? I think you guys know what question I'm going to be asking. What do you mean packaged? What does it mean to be packaged? Explain in detail. Okay, so that's going to be my first question, is what does it mean to be packaged? I don't know. Snapshot of my application and everything it needs to run, okay? So it has the code, dependencies, runtime, environment variables, configuration. It's a blueprint for the container. Second question. Where I did a lot of imports. In my project. How does the Docker build command know to go and install those? Does it run commands like npm install or the equivalent when it is a Java dependency? And then third off, well, this is kind of off topic, but it's a question I want to know. Slightly off topic, but when I not import something, but when I do an install, or what did it call it? But when I get a dependency, where does it live? Both for the Docker and when I am just doing it normally without Docker. Okay. So there's that. So where is it stored? And now we're going back to the image, right? So where is the image stored? We did this Docker build. We built an image. Where is it? Who owns it, right? Okay, so where is it stored? After you run Docker build, the image is stored locally in my machine in Docker's internal storage system. Okay, so Docker is managing it. Who is Docker? Who is Docker, and what is their relationship with my operating system? And what is their relationship with my actual machine? Okay, well, I don't want to go back and correct spelling. I don't care. It'll know what I mean. So, so when I do this, Docker images, I can see them. So that's what I did there. Okay, it lives in a hidden part of my file system. Oh, what is a file system? So, as you guys can see, what I want to do is I'm just trying to grab as many nuggets of information as I can. I feel like computer engineering and software, all of this stuff. There's so much to know about how different things come together and fit together. It's so difficult to get a understanding. Like, what are environment variables? That was another thing. Like, what is an environment variable? I didn't even know that they existed until like half a year ago. And I heard this term and I'm like, environment variable, what's this? And then I realized that, or then I investigated it because I heard it. I had never heard about it and I was curious, like, okay, someone mentioned it. What is it? So I went online and started doing my investigations and then came into, oh, what? Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's how things are kind of working. So I'm trying to find all of these nuggets of information. That being said, what did I just... Oh, file system. Okay. Okay. What is a file system? And what's its important? And what is its importance? Okay. So, who controls it? You do. Well, that's anticlimactic. Okay. As a creator, you own the Docker image on your machine. I didn't mean like that. I mean, who accesses it? That's what I'm meaning. Like, who runs it? Who manages it? That's what I'm meaning. 6. When I asked who controls it, I was meaning more on the lines of who or what in my operating system controls the image. How is it run, etc. Okay. So, Docker manages image lifecycle, building, storing, tagging, running. Okay, well, so Docker controls it. Maybe I should say, is Docker an executable? Like, what is Docker? I just want to know, like, what is Docker? What exactly is Docker? I know I said this right here. Like, what exactly is Docker? I don't mean what it is good for. I am meaning what kind of program is it which is on my system? How does it communicate with my OS? How does it communicate? Yeah. How does it communicate with my OS? Give any more information you think I might find helpful. Okay. So now, what is it made of? A Docker image is made of layers. Ooh, layers. What's going on with that? Each representing a step in my Docker file. For example, from, and then this is the like base image. Why is it calling it a layer? What's going on there? The jar files. Okay, that's fine. That's maybe that's where it gets the dependencies when I do the compilation of my Java. Does Java, when I do the like whatever Maven clean build or something, Maven clean package, and it creates those jar files, does it package up the dependencies? Okay. When I do the whatever Maven W what's it, clean package and get my jar files, okay, does this come with the dependencies? Okay, again, I don't care about spelling. Is it an executable? And oh my goodness, we're almost off screen. I'm just gonna press enter. It's gonna do its little bouncing. Have the party time, right? Okay, cool. And once it's done with that, it should be. Okay, is it done? No. There we go. Okay, now we can keep reading. Okay, so who controls it? We already read that. Is it an executable? Not exactly. A Docker image is not an executable file. It's not an exe and it's not a .sh, so a shell script. It's a read-only template. A read-only template that Docker uses to create a container which is running an instance of my app, okay? When you run docker run producer service, Docker spins up a container from the image and executes the image you defined. Okay, well, that actually brings up another point, which is in my Docker container, while it is being ran, does it have any saved memory or like hard disk or what I don't know what I'm trying to ask, like saved states. I don't know, something like this. Okay, so Docker image, a layered read-only snapshot of my app and its environments. Stored locally in internal storage, viewed via Docker images, via Docker CLI, and optionally via remote registries. Okay. Okay, so let's ask these questions, or let's read these questions here. So, what does packaged mean? Okay. To be packaged means that your application and everything it needs to run, the code, library, configuration files, environment variables, are bundled together into a single unit. So here we go. Maven clean package creates a jar or war file, a zipped archive containing compiled bytecode and optional dependencies. Okay, in Docker, packaging means creating an image that includes, okay, an image includes my application or my app, its dependencies, a base OS layer, okay, instructions on how to run it. Okay. How does Docker build handle dependencies? Doc. Oh, it's almost 1 a.m. Okay. Anyways, how does Docker build handle dependencies? Docker doesn't magically know what dependencies you need. It follows your Dockerfile instructions. For example, a Node.js app will have this npm install. Okay, so I just need, this is a command meaning run, this command npm install, okay? And then I copy package JSON. I copy the current directory. Which one's target? Which one's source? I don't know. Okay, whatever. In a Java app, okay, whatever. So yes, you must explicitly tell Docker. Did I do that though? I don't think I did. I mean, I copied over the jar files, right? Like, but I didn't tell it to download any dependencies. Maybe everything was already in this JDK. I don't know. I am trying to ask if I am running a container and the container has memory, does that memory persist? I don't know, something like that. Okay. Here is my Docker file. I don't see where I installed any of the dependencies. Okay, so then I paste that in there. Okay, so I'm guessing it's from this JDK right there. So where do dependencies live? Without Docker, Java Maven. Okay. Dependencies are downloaded from my local Maven repository. Without Docker. So they come from Maven, a repository. So this is just a repository of code, I think. Node.js stores modules in Node.js stored in Node modules inside of my project folder. Python stores in the system's site packages or virtual environment folder. Okay. I think I need to investigate that a little bit more as well to understand where exactly do dependencies live? What do they do? How are they grabbed during execution? All of that kind of stuff. But inside of Docker, dependencies live inside the image layer or the container's file system. And we're going to look into what a file system is as well. That's one of those questions. Okay, so for example, if your Docker file runs Maven package, the dependencies are downloaded inside of the container's temporary build environment and baked into the image. Who is Docker? What's its relationship to my machine? Docker is a containerized platform developed by Docker Inc. It runs a daemon, so a background process, on my machine. Okay, so that's, I think, what's going on here, right? It's like a daemon process running in my background. Okay. It uses Linux features like namespaces, C groups to isolate containers. Okay, on Windows or Mac OS, which is what I'm running right now, Docker runs inside a lightweight VM. Okay. And I can interact with it via the CLI. So it's a daemon running in my background. Okay. So what is a file system and why is it important? Okay. I'll let it do its thinking and take a few seconds of break. Oh. Oh, okay. So, what's a file system? A file system is the structure my operating system uses to store and organize files on disk. File system is the structure my operating system uses to store and organize files on a disk. Wait, is that literally just like Finder or something? Is that what it's talking about? In Docker, each container has its own virtual file system. Okay, whatever. Who controls Docker image? Great nuance here. Let's dig deeper. Okay, Docker runs as a daemon on my system. Okay, this is kind of what I was curious about. Like, who am I talking to? Okay, like, what is this? Okay, so it's a daemon running in my background. It stores images in a local image cache managed by Docker. Okay, the OS kernel doesn't directly control Docker images. It provides low-level features Docker uses. Okay, Docker communicates with my operating system via system calls. Okay, networking interfaces, storage drivers, etc. So Docker, the daemon, can do system calls just like you do in like C programming or something like that. You can do like whatever fork to create two processes, or you can do whatever you want to do, like print to the screen or take in data from the console, right, when people are typing. So it's under the hood, all of those operating or OS system calls. Anyways, so does this include dependencies? It depends on your Maven configuration. If your pom.xml uses Spring Boot Maven plugin, which I think it does, it can create a fat jar, also called an Uber jar, that includes all dependencies. All right. Otherwise, my jar may only contain compiled code. Okay. I don't even know if it actually does include. Obviously it's Spring Boot, but I don't know about Maven plugins. Okay, so does a Docker container have a saved state? Not in the way you might think. Okay. So memory, RAM. When a container is running, it has its own memory space, like any other process, okay? This memory is ephemeral. Once the container stops or is removed, everything in RAM is lost, okay? Yeah. So if your app stores something in memory, like a cache or session data, it disappears when the container stops. Okay, so file system changes. Changes made inside the container file system can persist only if, and we have that file system again, which I'm thinking is kind of like the Finder or the files in whatever Windows. And okay, it's kind of anticlimactic. I thought it was gonna be something else, or I don't know, more. It's like, oh, it's literally. Anyways, changes made inside the container's file system can persist only if you commit the container to a new image. Okay. You mount a volume to store data outside the container. Otherwise, any changes. So it gets deleted. Okay. Unless I do some steps. Persistent state strategy. If you want persistence, use volumes for data. Okay, so sometime in the future, not right now, because I don't want to get way too lost in the weeds. We're trying to make progress as well. We're trying to learn, but also make progress. So sometime in the future, we'll have to look into like what are volumes and how can that benefit us? Like how can we use volumes to make a better project, etc. But that's not what we're doing right now. Right now, we're just learning about containerization and how it's working. Okay, so use external services like Redis, okay, or cloud storage. I've heard of Redis. I don't know what it is. Avoid relying on in-memory state unless you're okay with it being temporary. Okay, fine. Why aren't dependencies installed in my Docker file? Your Docker file assumes the .jar file already contains all dependencies. Okay, cool. So there we go. There's no build step. It assumes you've already run the command outside of Docker and the resulting jars are in target, which they are. We've verified that. Okay. I don't need to fix it. It's working, but yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna do Docker run. Actually, I still have it here. Docker run, and then I want to run reg service. Okay. See if it works. Okay. So now I should be able to come here to my Eureka server, load this. Hopefully we get something. And we do. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And no instances there. So now I'm going to come into my terminal, do a new terminal, go into my producer, and then my producer should also have a Docker file. So I need to go and look at what the image name is. So Docker images, and we're going to see, here's our reg service, and there's our producer service. So new Docker run, and I believe this one is on port 8080. Okay, so -p port 8080 mapped to 8080. Let me verify that real fast. Docker file with 8080, yeah, okay. And then the image name that I want to start out, producer service, okay. Hopefully it will register itself with Eureka, and I can refresh this, and we have producer service. Okay, so cool. So what I want to do is essentially just copy and paste this and put it into my consumer. So I am going to have Docker file, just like this, okay, and then paste that into there. And we don't want 8080, we want something else. What are we running this one on? I believe I have dev notes here. So this is producer, this is registry, and this is front end. I did not put consumer, so we have to go search for it. All right, would it be in application properties? 8082, okay. And let me, okay, so consumer microservice is going to be on port, paste that into there, okay. And now for consumer, I come in here and we said it was 8082, right? Okay. And we want to grab the jar files just like normal, and we want, all of this is going to be the same, but we need to actually create the jar files. So let's go into our consumer, okay? And now, see, in my producer, I have these this target like file, and in here I have this. Oh, I actually might have already ran that. So I already have jar files, but it's probably very out of date. So I guess I've already run that for the consumer, but we need to redo that. So maven w, not Spring Boot, it is, oh, what's the command? Clean package, something like that. Okay. So now what I should be able to do is build an image. So Docker, I want to talk to Docker. I want to build, okay. I want to have a name called consume service, okay. And I want to build it from the Docker file in my current working directory. Okay. Alright, so now I should be able to do Docker images, and I've created this. Okay. So I can go into here, so Docker run consume sir. I need to standardize those names, but anyways. No, I first need to tell it the port, and the port is 8082 mapped to 8082, okay? And then go. So hopefully that worked. Okay, it did not work. Let's see. Failed connection refused. Okay. See, what's this saying? Consumer resource is trying to register with Eureka. It's getting a connection error. Oh, we need to. I remember doing this. We need to go into the. We need to tell this consumer resource where it lives or something like that. Hold on a second. Let me remember what we need to do. We need, not in here, we need to go to the application right here. Now we need to tell where we're not on localhost anymore. We have to do like host or like Docker host, something like this. Eureka client service URI default is. So we don't want this one, yeah. Host Docker internal. Okay. Wait, why? What? With a hashtag? Okay. So this should work. Our Eureka client is, and we probably also don't want this local host for MongoDB. That's also probably gonna cause us an error. Let me check that actually, and then yeah, I need to redo this. Or redo those commands. Will my other settings cause an error? For example, the MongoDB is set with localhost. Okay. So, yes, MongoDB setting using localhost can cause a connection error if your Spring Boot application is running inside of Docker container and MongoDB is running on the host machine, which it is. Why it breaks inside Docker, localhost refers to the container itself, not the local machine. So what I need to do is I need to keep these. So I need to come in here and I need to get rid of these. Okay, and I should be able to do it just like this. Do I need to actually, like, do I need that line of code? For Docker Compose, which we're going to be doing in future videos, maybe like next video or 2 videos from now, but it's good for me to read it so I know where we're headed. If you want to run both your app and MongoDB in containers, Docker Compose makes it easy to network with them. You can use the service name like MongoDB instead of worrying about host IP. Okay. That sounds like a next video kind of thing. Will this work? Or do I also need to change the string URI? Why would it be a one or the other change? Okay, I don't know. I don't know what the URI actually does. So great catch. Yes, you do need to change the string. Okay, so whatever. This likely use. Okay, let's just do it. I don't want to mess around with it right now. There we go. Okay, and that actually probably means we need to do it on the producer service as well, which source, main, Java, resources, and I want this one. I'm going to get rid of these. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to, let's see, application properties, this one. Oh, okay, I already did it on the producer. Okay, cool. So now, all I need to do is, let me close this one. So now I'm only just working still with the consumer. So this one's the consumer here, and it's not working, right? It wasn't able to connect, but that makes sense because it's trying to communicate with the Eureka server, and it was doing localhost on this port, which localhost refers to the container itself, not localhost, which is on my computer. So what do I need to do? I need to rebuild. First, I need to recompile. So I need to do that Maven, this one. So I need to recompile. Okay. Then I need to build my image. Okay. Okay. Now I need to run my image. I saw the word failed. I don't like that. Okay, well, ooh, I don't like this. Okay. I don't know what that. Okay, but it's up. It's up. That counts for something, right? Okay. Okay. Uh, do we want to go in and do the front end? I kind of do. I wanna push it. Um, I also have a microservice written in Node.js and want to containerize that as well. Okay. So node service, package.json, server.js, other source files. Okay. Yeah. Create a Docker file like this, working directory, npm install. Okay. Says replace server.js with. Where do we even see server.js? I'm not seeing that. Or app.js. Oh, here, server.js. Okay. So I'm going to come in here, and on this level, I am going to do, was it capital Docker file, like that? Okay. And now I want to do app.js. App.js. Which port do I want to expose? Dev notes, port 3000. Okay. Well, lucky guess. npm install, do this. Okay. So build the image. Let's see. I don't know if it's gonna work. We'll try it. So now what do I want to do? I want to go into my front end service. I want to. Do I need to compile it, or are we good, or like what's up? I don't know. I have this thing here of the install command. I do this app.js. That's kind of like that's running it. So okay, fine. I'm doing that command, so I think it's okay. Let me just try it. Docker build, because we're building it, and the name is going to be front end. Okay, and we're doing it from this current working directory. Okay. Now, another thing that I just realized when I'm talking about localhost, what do I need to change for like the localhost stuff? I don't know. Okay. Docker run -p, what was it, 3000 maps to 3000. Okay, and what did I just call it? Like front end. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so app.js. We're gonna have to. We'll do that in the next video. Trying to go through the JavaScript and understand how it's doing the communication with not the container's localhost, but the localhost outside, meaning my host OS. Okay, so thank you guys for watching this video. If you are if you want to watch more videos and join me along on this process of going down the path of software engineering, and if that's interesting to you, subscribe, and I would love to have you along on this journey. We're going to keep going, we're going to keep learning, we're going to keep making the projects better and better, and see where we get. So yeah, thank you for watching. My name is Timothy Lee Grant. Subscribe if you want to, and have a wonderful rest of the day.